wake up, but for a moment you don't remember where you are. There is no soft light filtering through curtains, no quiet hum of electricity, no distant traffic, only darkness. And then it hits you. The smell. Not one smell, but layers of it pressing into your lungs the moment you breathe in. Damp straw beneath your back. Sweat, old sour human, coming not just from your own body, but from others in the room. Smoke from coal fires creeping in through the cracks in the walls. And beneath it all, something heavier, something unmistakable. Waste. Human waste rotting somewhere too close. You blink slowly. Your eyes begin to adjust, but the room does not become clearer, so much as it becomes real. Low ceiling, wooden beams warped and darkened with age, a narrow space barely wide enough to stretch your arms fully. You are not alone. There are shapes around you. Bodies. Someone coughs in the darkness, a wet, rattling sound that lingers too long. Another shifts beside you, the straw mattress, rustling under shared weight. You feel warmth that is not your own pressing against your side. You don't need to look to know. There are at least 6, maybe 7 of you in this room. You remember now. London. 18th century London. Your name is Thomas Whitaker. You are 19 years old, and you have been in this city for less than a year. Long enough to understand one thing clearly. This place does not care if you live or die. The cold seeps into your bones, even though it isn't truly cold. The air is just wrong. Thick. Used too many times. You push yourself up slowly, careful not to wake the man beside you completely. He groans anyway, turning his back, pulling what little cloth he has tighter around his shoulders. There is no proper bed, just straw. Old, flattened, alive with things you try not to think about. Your hand brushes your neck instinctively. You don't need to check. You already know. The itching never really stops. From somewhere below, you hear movement. A door slamming. Voices rising. The city is waking up. It never truly sleeps. You swing your legs over the edge of the mattress, if it can even be called that, and your feet meet the wooden floor. It's damp. Not wet, but never dry either. Like the building itself is slowly rotting from the inside. You stand. The room shifts slightly, with your movement the entire structure creaking, as if it resents your weight. For a brief second, a thought crosses your mind, that one day this place might simply collapse, and no one would be surprised. You move toward the small window. It isn't really a window, more a square opening covered with something that used to be glass. It lets in a faint grey light. Not sunlight. Not yet. Just enough to see the outlines of your world. Your clothes are where you left them. A rough linen shirt, stiff with wear. Breeches that have been patched so many times the original fabric is almost gone. You pick them up, shake them once more out of habit than hope. Something small falls to the floor. You don't look at it. You dress quickly. There is no mirror. But you don't need one. You already know what you look like. Thin. Too thin. Eyes tired in a way that doesn't come from a single night's sleep, but from months. maybe years, of never truly resting. From outside, the sounds grow louder. Wheels scraping against stone. Horses snorting. Someone shouting, already angry, already desperate. A woman's voice rises above the rest, sharp and cutting, arguing over something that likely isn't worth the breath it takes to fight about. But here, everything is worth fighting for. You move toward the door. It sticks when you push it, the wood swollen from moisture. It always sticks. You lean into it harder, and it finally gives opening with a groan that echoes down the narrow corridor beyond. The hallway is darker than your room. No windows here. No light. Just a long stretch of wood and shadows lined with doors identical to yours. Behind each one, more people, more lives pressed together in spaces too small to contain them. You step out carefully. The floorboards creak under your weight. Somewhere nearby, a baby starts crying. Not a soft cry, but a sharp, desperate wail that cuts through everything. It doesn't stop. It rarely does. You begin your descent. The stairs are steep, uneven. You've learned where to place your feet, which boards hold which ones threaten to give way. One misstep here, and you could break a leg. And a broken leg in this city. That's the end. You pass others on the stairs. A man carrying a bucket, his face blank eyes unfocused. A woman holding a child close to her chest, whispering something you can't hear. No one greets each other. No one wastes energy on politeness. Survival does not leave room for it. By the time you reach the bottom, the smell has changed. Worse. Stronger. The door to the street stands open, and with it comes a wave of cold morning air. But it does nothing to cleanse what lingers here. It only mixes with it, creating something new. Something heavier. You step outside. And London reveals itself. The street is already alive. Not awake, alive. There's a difference. Mud covers everything. Not clean mud, but a thick mixture of earth waste straw and things you don't dare identify. Horses pull carts through it, their hooves sinking deep, their bodies straining under weight that seems impossible. One of them stumbles as you watch, nearly collapsing before forcing itself upright again. No one stops. No one helps. A man shouts as his cart gets stuck, whipping the horse harder, as if pain might somehow solve the problem. Nearby, two boys dart between wheels. Quick, silent eyes always searching, looking for something to take, looking for someone careless enough to lose it. You step forward carefully, placing each foot with intention. The ground is treacherous. One wrong step, one slip, and you could end up face first in the street. And that is not something you come back from easily. The air is filled with sound, vendors shouting, metal clanging, voices overlapping in accents from places far beyond this city. London is not just English. It is Irish, Scottish, Dutch, French, all forced together into something chaotic and loud and restless. You keep moving. You've already learned the most important rule. Never stop. Never stand still long enough to be noticed. Because the moment you do, someone will want something from you. And if you have nothing to give, They may decide to take something anyway. You pull your coat tighter around you, though it does little against the chill. The sky above is still grey, heavy with clouds that threaten rain, but never quite deliver it when you need it. This is London, a city of smoke and stone, of wealth you will never touch, and poverty you cannot escape. You walk, because standing still is not an option, and somewhere ahead, your day is already waiting for you. You step deeper into the street, and the city begins to close around you. Not physically, not yet, but in sound, in movement, in pressure. London does not give you space. It takes it from you inch by inch until you learn how to exist within the gaps. The street narrows as you move forward. Buildings lean inward as if they are tired of standing their upper floors, nearly touching above your head. Whatever light the sky offered is swallowed here, leaving everything in a dim grey half-shadow. You hear it before you see it. The wheels, wood grinding against stone, a heavy cart forcing its way through the street, pulled by two horses that look more bone than flesh. Their ribs show clearly beneath their skin. Their breath comes out in sharp bursts, visible in the cold air. Move. The driver's voice cracks like a whip, and the whip follows a second later. The sound snaps through the street, loud enough to make you flinch, even though you've heard it 100 times before. People scatter just enough to avoid being crushed, not out of courtesy, out of instinct. You press yourself against the side of a building, feeling the rough wood scrape against your shoulder as the cart passes inches from you. Mud splashes up, hitting your boots, your trousers. You don't react. You can't afford to. Everyone here is already filthy. The moment the cart clears, the space fills again. Bodies flowing back into place like water. You move with them. Always forward. Always moving. To your left, a woman stands behind a wooden crate shouting into the chaos. Fresh bread, still warm. 2 pennies. You glance at it as you pass. The bread is small. Too small for the price. But people still stop. Still reach into whatever pockets they have. Still trade coins for something that might keep them going a few more hours. A man beside you hesitates. Just for a second. That's all it takes. A boy no older than 10 slides past him like a shadow. You barely see the movement, but you know what happened. The man doesn't notice until a few steps later. Then he stops. His hands move quickly, checking. His face changes. He turns, shouting, but the boy is already gone. Swallowed by the crowd, vanished into the same chaos that made the theft possible in the first place. No one helps. No one even looks. Because everyone understands something very simple. Next time, it could be them. You keep walking. The smell shifts as you turn onto a wider street. Less confined, but no less intense. Here it spreads out instead of concentrating. Smoke from dozens of chimneys mixes with the scent of animals of refuse of people who have nowhere else to be. You pass a row of houses. Their doors open, revealing glimpses of lives inside. A woman scrubbing a floor with water that looks too dirty to clean anything. A man sitting at a table staring into nothing. A child curled in the corner, too still. You don't slow down. Looking too long feels like crossing a line. as if acknowledging it might somehow pull you into it deeper than you already are. Ahead, the street opens into something larger. Not a square, not exactly, just a place where more streets collide than usual, creating a wider space where the chaos intensifies instead of easing. This is where the vendors gather. Not neatly, not organized, but packed together so tightly their voices overlap into something constant and overwhelming. Fish, fresh, fish, hot pies, meat pies, cloth, cheap cloth. Each voice louder than the last, each one trying to cut through the noise of the others. You feel it in your chest more than you hear it clearly. A man brushes past you carrying something wrapped in cloth. It drips. You don't look too closely. You don't need to. Another cart rolls through, smaller this time, pushed by hand. It's stacked with barrels. Pickled something. Vegetables, maybe. The man pushing it is sweating despite the cold, his breath heavy, his steps uneven. He almost collides with you. You step aside just in time. He doesn't apologize. He doesn't even notice, because he can't afford to. No one here can afford to stop. You move along the edge of the crowd, keeping your distance where you can. It's not much, but even a few inches of space feels like something valuable. A group of children runs past you laughing. Actually laughing. It catches you off guard. For a moment, it doesn't belong here, but then one of them shoves another, harder than necessary. The laughter shifts, sharpens. It's not joy. Not really. It's something closer to release. Energy that has nowhere else to go. They disappear into the mass of people, and the moment is gone. You reach a corner and pause, not stopping, just slowing enough to look. Ahead, the street slopes slightly downward. The mud is thicker there, darker. Water pools in uneven patches, reflecting the dull sky above. A man slips. It happens quickly. One moment he's walking. The next his foot slides out from under him. He hits the ground hard, the sound lost in the noise of the street. For a second, he just lies there. Then he tries to get up. A cart passes close enough that he has to roll out of the way, his hands sinking into the mud. No one stops. No one offers a hand. He gets up on his own. He has to. You watch for a moment longer than you should. Then you move again. Because staying in one place too long, it draws attention. And attention is dangerous. You turn down another street, narrower, darker. Quieter, but not calm. There is no calm here. Only different kinds of noise. Here it's lower. Voices murmuring instead of shouting. Doors closing quickly. Eyes watching from behind windows that aren't quite windows. You feel it. The shift. This part of the city is different. Not better. Just different. You pull your coat tighter again instinctively. You don't know exactly why, but you feel it. Something about this place demands caution. Your steps slow slightly, your senses sharpen, and somewhere ahead, your day is about to become something more than just survival. You turn the corner, and the noise changes again. Not quieter, just contained. The shouting fades behind you, replaced by something more focused. Repetitive, mechanical, a rhythm that doesn't belong to the street. You follow it, because you already know where it leads. Work. The building stands like all the others. Tall, narrow, leaning slightly, as if it's tired of holding itself together. The wood is darkened by years of smoke, and damp the windows clouded the doorway open just enough to swallow people as they arrive. No sign, no need. Everyone who belongs here already knows. You step inside, and the smell hits you harder than the street ever could. Hot air, thick, heavy, trapped. Coal smoke, oil, fabric, sweat. So much sweat. The room is larger than the one you slept in, but only just. Long tables stretch from one end to the other, crowded with tools, scraps, and hands already moving before the day has properly begun. You're not late, but you're not early either. And here, that matters. Thomas. The voice cuts through everything. You don't turn immediately. You don't rush. You've learned that both are mistakes. Instead, you adjust your pace, steady, controlled, and make your way toward the sound. Your employer stands near the far end of the room, Mr. Halbrook, a thin man, older, his face carved with lines that don't come from age alone. His eyes move constantly, not searching, measuring, counting, weighing the value of every movement, every second, every person, including you. You've got hands, he says, not as a compliment, but as an observation. Let's see if you still know how to use them. You nod once, no words. Words are wasted here. You move to your place. A narrow section of the table, barely enough space to work without brushing against the man beside you. He doesn't look up as you arrive. His hands are already moving, needle flashing in and out of cloth with practiced speed. You pick up your tools. Needle, thread, fabric. Simple things. But nothing here is simple. The cloth in front of you is rough wool. Thick. Stubborn. It resists at first as if it doesn't want to become what it's being forced into. Your fingers press into it, guiding, shaping, pulling it into line. The first stitch is always the hardest. Not physically, mentally. Because once you start, you don't stop. You push the needle through. Pull again and again. The rhythm takes over quickly. It has to. There's no time to think about each movement. Your hands learn the pattern, repeating it until it becomes automatic. Around you, the room fills with sound, not voices. Work. Needles piercing fabric. Scissors cutting. The dull thud of something heavy hitting wood. Someone coughs. Someone else swears under their breath. The air hums with effort. Time moves differently here. Slower and faster at the same time. You lose track of minutes almost immediately. There is only the next stitch, and the one after that, and the one after that. A mistake would cost you. Not just time. Money, and money is everything. You glance down at your work. Straight, clean. No wasted thread. Good. You keep going. The man beside you shifts suddenly. His hand slips just slightly. The needle catches wrong, pulling the fabric tighter than it should. You hear it. A small sound. Barely anything. But enough. Mr. Halbrook hears it too. He appears at the man's side without warning. No footsteps. No announcement. Just there. What's this? His voice is calm. Too calm. The man freezes. Fix it, Halbrook says. No anger. No shouting. Just expectation. The man works quickly. Hands moving faster now, correcting the error. But the damage is already there. The fabric won't sit the same. It never does once it's been pulled wrong. Halbrook watches. Silently, then without a word, he takes the piece of cloth and tears it. The sound is loud in the room. Sharp. Final. Every hand pauses for a fraction of a second, then resumes. No one looks up. No one reacts. Because everyone understands. That could have been them. That's your pay, Halbrook says quietly, dropping the ruined piece onto the table. He walks away. The man beside you doesn't move for a moment. Then he reaches for another piece of fabric and starts again. You don't look at him. You don't say anything. There's nothing to say. You focus on your own work. Stitch, pull, stitch, pull. The rhythm returns, but it feels different now. Tighter, sharper. Every movement more deliberate because now the cost is clear. The air grows hotter as the hours pass. The room fills bodies pressed closer together as more workers arrive. The windows don't open. They can't. The air inside is already too heavy, and outside wouldn't be much better. Sweat runs down your back, into your shirt, into the fabric you're working on if you're not careful. You wipe your hands against your trousers. Keep going. Across the room, someone begins coughing again. Louder this time. It doesn't stop. It never seems to stop. The sound blends into the rest of the noise until it becomes part of it. Normal. Everything here becomes normal. Eventually. You don't know how long you've been working when Halbrook's voice cuts through again. Faster. Not directed at anyone. At everyone. The pace increases. Just slightly. But enough to feel it. Your fingers move quicker. The needle flashes faster. The rhythm tightens until it almost feels like something might snap. But it doesn't. It never does. Because it can't. You glance toward the door. Not because you expect to leave, but because for a moment you remember the outside, the chaos, the noise, the open sky, even if it was grey. In here, there is none of that. Only this, only work, only survival measured in stitches and seconds. You look back down and keep going, because stopping is not an option. And somewhere beyond these walls, the rest of London is moving forward without you, waiting for you to catch up or fall behind. At some point, the rhythm breaks. Not completely, just enough for you to notice it. Go. Mr. Holbrook doesn't raise his voice, but it carries through the room all the same. A single word. Sharp. Final. You don't question it. You set the fabric down carefully, making sure nothing is out of place. The needle rests exactly where it should. The thread is cut clean. Mistakes at the end of a task still count. You wipe your hands once against your trousers and step back. The air outside the workshop hits you like something unfamiliar. Cooler. Not clean, never clean, but lighter than what you've been breathing. For a moment your lungs hesitate as if they don't quite trust it. Then you inhale. Deep. The street greets you immediately. Noise, movement, life. But now, something feels different. Maybe it's the contrast. Maybe it's the way your eyes adjust after hours in dim light. Or maybe it's the direction your feet take you. You don't return the way you came. Not exactly. Instead, you follow a wider road, one you've only seen from a distance. You've passed near it before, but never walked through it. Not fully. You don't realize it at first, but step by step, the city begins to change. The mud is still there, but less. The ground feels firmer beneath your feet. The ruts carved by wagon wheels are shallower, more controlled. Even the horses look different, stronger, cleaner. Their coats brushed instead of caked in filth. The buildings shift too. They rise straighter. Less leaning, less decay. Brick replaces wood in places. Windows are larger, clearer. Some even reflect light instead of swallowing it. You slow slightly, not stopping, just observing. People pass you, but not like before. They don't push as much. They don't shout. Their voices are lower contained. Their movements deliberate. A man walks past you in a coat that looks untouched by wear. Dark wool, clean lines, buttons polished. His boots don't sink into the ground the way yours do. They step confidently, as if the street belongs to him. He doesn't look at you. Not out of hostility, out of absence. You are not something he needs to see. You keep moving. Ahead, a carriage rolls by. Not a cart. Not something built for hauling goods. This is different. Enclosed. Polished. The wheels move smoothly, barely making a sound compared to the grinding chaos of the streets you left behind. The horse pulling it holds its head higher, its harness clean, its movement controlled. Inside, you catch a glimpse. A woman, dressed in fabric that doesn't wrinkle the way yours does. layers of it, light colors, clean, untouched by the world outside the carriage walls. For a second, your eyes meet, or you think they do. Then the carriage moves on, and the moment disappears. You stand there, just a fraction too long, and then you remember. Never stop. You walk again. The further you go, the clearer the difference becomes. Shops replace stalls, not wooden crates shouting for attention, but structured fronts. Signs. Windows displaying goods instead of hiding them. Items arranged with intention, with care. You pass one, and slow without meaning to. Clothing. Fine clothing. Coats smoother than anything you've touched. Fabrics lighter, softer. Colors that don't fade into grey and brown. They stand out even in the dull light of the city. You look down at your own sleeve. The contrast is immediate. Yours is worn, patched, functional. Theirs is something else entirely. You move on. A group of men stands near the entrance of a building. They speak quietly, but you catch fragments. Shipment arriving next week. Price will rise. Invest before. The words feel distant, not just in sound, but in meaning. You understand them, but they don't belong to your world. Not yet. Maybe never. You continue down the street, your steps slower now, more cautious. Not because of danger, but because here, you are the one who doesn't belong. It's subtle. No one stops you. No one pushes you away. But you feel it. In the way eyes glance past you. In the space people leave. Not out of respect, but out of quiet avoidance. You are seen and understood immediately. A worker, out of place. You pass a doorway and catch your reflection for the first time. Faint, distorted, but enough. You see it, the dirt, the wear, the difference. For a moment, you don't recognize yourself. Or maybe you recognize yourself too clearly. You turn away. Keep walking. The street opens further ahead, revealing something larger. A building that stands above the others. Its structure solid, deliberate. Stone instead of wood. Windows aligned perfectly. Steps leading up to a heavy door. People enter without hesitation, without looking, as if it's the most natural thing in the world. You stop again, just for a second, and this time, you allow it. Because something about this place feels important. Not to you, but to the city. You don't step closer. You don't belong inside. Not yet. Maybe not ever. A carriage pulls up behind you, the sound soft but firm enough to pull you back to yourself. You step aside quickly. The driver doesn't slow. Doesn't need to. You return to the edge of the street, back where you understand the rules, back where movement matters more than presence. And as you stand there watching the world that exists just beyond your reach, you realize something. This is still London, the same city, the same streets, but not the same life, not even close. You turn and begin walking back, because no matter how far you go, there is always a line, and you've just seen exactly where yours is drawn. By the time you turn back, the hunger has already started. Not sudden, not sharp, just a slow, steady pull somewhere deep in your stomach, the kind you've learned to ignore until you can't. The street changes again as you retrace your steps. The clean lines fade. The space tightens. The noise returns. Louder this time. Or maybe you just notice it more. A cart rolls past you stacked with wooden trays. The smell hits before you see what's on them. Pies. Hot. Greasy. You stop. Just for a moment. The man selling them stands behind his cart, shouting into the crowd. Meat pies. Fresh. 2 pennies. You look. Really look. The crust is uneven. Burnt in places, pale in others. The filling leaks slightly from the sides, thick and dark. It smells strong, not entirely unpleasant, but not clean either. You know what's inside. Or rather, you know you don't. That's how it works here. You reach into your pocket, your fingers close around the coins. You count them without looking. Not enough. Not for that. You let go. Move on. Hunger stays with you. It always does. A few steps later, another smell reaches you. Different. Sharper. Fish. A woman stands beside a barrel, pulling them out one by one. Silver bodies dull in the grey light, their eyes clouded over. Some still move. Barely. Cheap, cheap fish. A man beside her argues over the price. His voice rises. Hers rises higher. They go back and forth louder and louder, until finally he throws a coin onto the cart, takes the fish, walks away. Victory for both of them. You keep moving. Your stomach tightens again. Further down, you spot something smaller. A boy. Younger than you expected. Maybe 12. He stands beside a narrow table, not shouting like the others. Just watching. Waiting. On the table. Scraps. Bread. Hard. Stale. Broken pieces collected from somewhere sold for less. You slow. He sees it immediately. Half penny, he says quietly. No smile. No sales pitch. Just the number. You hesitate. Then reach into your pocket again. This time, you don't pull your hand back. You place the coin on the table. He pushes a piece toward you. You take it. It's lighter than you expected. Dry. You bring it to your mouth and bite. It resists at first, then cracks. The taste is nothing, or maybe something once. Now it's just fuel. You chew, swallow. It sits heavy in your stomach, but not enough to satisfy. It never is. You nod once to the boy. He nods back. That's it. The transaction ends. You walk again. The street dips slightly ahead and the air changes. Colder, damp. There's water here. Not clean water. Never clean. A narrow channel runs along the edge of the street, carrying something that used to be liquid, dark, thick, moving slowly, if at all. People step over it without thinking. You do the same, but the smell lingers, stronger than before. You cover your mouth instinctively. It doesn't help. Nothing helps. A man stands nearby, leaning against a wall. Too still. You notice him because he doesn't move. Not at all. His head hangs forward, his hat slipping slightly to one side. His hands rest loosely at his sides. You slow. Just slightly. No one else does. They pass him. Brush against him. Ignore him. You take one more step closer. And then you see it. The color. Or lack of it. His skin is wrong. Too pale. Too still. Your chest tightens. You stop. For a second too long. A woman passing you mutters under her breath. Don't. You look at her. She doesn't stop walking. Doesn't look back. You understand. You step away. Keep moving. Because here, there are things you don't stop for. Not anymore. Not. The street carries you forward again, back into the flow of bodies and noise and motion. But something has shifted. The hunger is still there. The sounds are still there. But now, there's something else. Awareness of how thin everything is, how easily it breaks. A cough echoes from somewhere behind you. Then another. Closer. You glance back. A man leans against a cart, coughing into his sleeve. Not a light cough. Not something that will pass in a moment. Deep, wet. It shakes his whole body. People move away from him. Not quickly. Not dramatically. Just enough. Enough distance to feel safe. Or safer. You turn forward again. Your pace quickens slightly. You don't think about it. Your body just decides. The street narrows once more, pulling you back into the part of the city you understand best, where everything is harder, but clearer. You pass a group gathered around something. You don't want to look, but you do. You always do. A cart, covered, rough cloth pulled over its contents. A man stands beside it, waiting. Not selling, not shouting, just waiting. You don't need to ask. You don't need to get closer. You already know. You walk past. Faster now. The bread in your stomach feels heavier. Not enough to satisfy, but enough to remind you you're still here. Still moving. Still alive. And in this city, that is never guaranteed. You pull your coat tighter again. Lower your head slightly. And keep walking, because the day isn't over, not even close. The afternoon does not arrive all at once. It presses in slowly, like the weight of the city itself, settling deeper onto your shoulders. And by the time you realize it has changed, you are already tired in a way that feels older than the day. You turn back toward the workshop, your steps quicker now, not out of urgency, but out of understanding. Time lost outside is time taken from you later. Time you will have to repay with your hands. The street narrows again, the buildings closing in, the light fading, even though the sun has not yet begun to fall. The noise sharpens as you approach, no longer scattered, but focused like a single machine made of hundreds of bodies, all moving with purpose. You step through the doorway, and the air hits you again hotter than before, thicker, used and reused until it feels almost solid. No one looks up when you return. No one needs to. Your place is still there, your tools untouched, your absence already forgotten the moment you stepped outside. You take your position without a word, fingers closing around the needle, the thread, the fabric, and the rhythm begins again before your mind fully catches up. Stitch, pull, stitch, pull. Faster now. Not because you choose to, but because the room demands it. Because everyone else has already adjusted, and falling behind is something you cannot allow. The heat builds quickly, trapped between bodies and walls that do not breathe. Sweat forms instantly, running down your neck, your back, your hands. You wipe it away without thinking, but it returns just as fast as if the air itself is pressing it out of you. Across the table, a boy, new younger than most, works with hands that have not yet learned the rhythm. You can see it in the way he hesitates, in the way his stitches are uneven, slightly too tight, then too loose. He tries to correct it as he goes, but that only slows him further. You don't look at him for long. You don't need to. You already know what happens next. Mr. Halbrook moves through the room again, not loudly, not quickly, but with a presence that reaches every corner. He stops behind the boy, says nothing at first, just watches. The boy's hands begin to shake slightly, the needle slipping once, then catching again. Too late. Stop. The word lands heavier than shouting would. The boy freezes. Holbrook reaches down, takes the fabric, examines it for a second that feels longer than it should, then sets it back down. Not tearing it this time. Not yet. You're slower than the others, he says. calm, measured, and slower costs money. The boy nods quickly, too quickly, as if agreement might save him. It won't. Faster. Halbrook adds and moves on. No punishment. Not today. But the warning is enough. The boy works faster, immediately too fast now, his stitches tightening again, the patterns already beginning to break. You look back down at your own work. Focus returns. It has to. The rhythm takes over again, but it feels different now, sharper, more precise. Every movement measured against an invisible line you cannot cross. Time stretches. The room grows louder, without increasing in volume, each sound layering over the last until it becomes something constant, something you stop hearing individually. Your back begins to ache, a slow, steady pressure that builds. With every minute you remain bent forward. Your fingers grow stiff, the repetition wearing them down even as they continue to move. You flex them once briefly, then continue. There is no real pause. Not here. A sudden noise cuts through everything. A dull thud. You look up before you can stop yourself. A man at the far end of the room has slipped from his stool. He didn't cry out. Didn't warn anyone. One moment he was working. The next, he wasn't. He lies on the floor, unmoving, his tools scattered beside him. For a second, the room hesitates. Not stops. Just hesitates. Then Holbrook is there. He crouches, checks the man briefly, his expression unreadable. "Get him out of the way," he says, standing again. Two workers nearby move immediately, lifting the man under his arms, dragging him toward the wall. His head lolls slightly, his body loose, too loose. You don't know if he's unconscious or something else. No one asks. No one stops working. The space he occupied is empty for less than a minute before someone else shifts into it, taking his place, picking up the work as if nothing happened. Because here, nothing can stop. Not for long. You look back down. Your hands continue. Stitch. Pull. Stitch. Pull. The rhythm returns again. But now it feels heavier. More deliberate. Because now you've seen it. How quickly someone can disappear from this room. From this work. From everything. The light outside begins to change, though you can barely see it through the window. The grey shifts, slightly deepening, softening. Afternoon is slipping toward evening. But inside, nothing changes. The work continues at the same pace. The same pressure, the same demand. Holbrook's voice cuts through once more. We finish this today. Not a suggestion. A fact. The pace increases again. Your hands respond automatically, moving faster, pushing the limit of what you can control. The margin for error shrinks with every second, but you hold it. Barely. Just enough. Your vision blurs for a moment. You blink. Hard. Focus returns. You don't stop. You can't. Because stopping, even for a second, might be the difference. And in this place, the difference is everything. By the time the work finally loosens its grip on you, the light outside is already fading. Not suddenly, but enough that you feel it. The room doesn't empty all at once. It thins. One person steps away, then another. Tools are set down carefully, not out of care, but habit. Everything here is done with intention, even exhaustion. You don't stop immediately. You finish the last stitch. Pull the thread tight. Cut it clean. Only then, you set your hands down. They don't feel like yours anymore. Stiff. Heavy. Slow to respond. You flex your fingers once, twice. The sensation returns slowly, like something waking up after being pushed too far. Go, Halbrook says again without looking up. You don't wait for anything else. You step away. The air outside greets you differently now. Cooler, darker, and quieter, but not calm. Never calm. The street has changed. Not empty. Not even less crowded. But different. The energy has shifted, where the morning was chaos, and the afternoon was pressure. The evening is something else entirely. Uncertain. You step forward, your boots pressing into the damp ground, but it feels less visible now. The light is fading fast, swallowed by the buildings before the sky has fully surrendered. Lanterns begin to appear. Small points of fire in the dark. They don't light the street. They only reveal how much of it remains unseen. You pull your coat tighter. Not just from the cold, from instinct. Voices carry differently at night. Lower. Closer. More deliberate. You pass a group gathered near a doorway. They don't shout. Don't call out to you. They just watch as you move past. You feel their eyes. You don't look back. Never look back. Ahead, a man stumbles out of a narrow alley, laughing too loudly, his steps uneven. The smell reaches you before he does. Ale. Strong. Cheap. He brushes past you, nearly knocking your shoulder, but doesn't stop. Doesn't notice. His laughter fades quickly, swallowed by the street. You keep walking. Faster now. The rules have changed. During the day, the danger is obvious. You can see it. Avoid it. At night, it waits. In corners. In shadows. In moments where you think nothing is there. A sudden movement to your right makes you tense. Two figures step out from between buildings. not rushing, not threatening, just appearing. They move past you without a word, but your pulse doesn't slow. Not immediately. You continue forward, your senses sharper, now every sound pulling your attention. Footsteps behind you, voices ahead, the creak of wood somewhere above. Everything feels closer, more personal. You turn onto a familiar street, narrow, crowded, but known. This is where you understand the flow again, where the patterns return even in the dark. A lantern hangs outside a small establishment ahead. The light spills out onto the street, flickering uneven. Inside you hear it. Laughter. Real laughter. Mixed with voices raised not in anger, but in something else. Release. You slow. Just slightly. Your body responds before your mind does. Warmth, light, sound. It pulls at you. For a moment, you consider it. Inside, men sit close together, mugs in hand, their faces flushed from drink and heat. The air is thick with smoke, but it looks alive. Different from the workshop. Different from the street. A place where for a short time the weight lifts. You step closer, just enough to feel the warmth reach you. A man inside slams his mug down, laughing loudly, his voice cutting through the rest. Someone else answers him. The sound builds layers over itself. You feel it in your chest for a moment. You almost forget. Then you reach into your pocket. Your fingers close around the coins. You count them. Slowly. Carefully. Not enough. Not for that. The warmth fades. Not from the room. From you. You step back. The light remains where it is. You don't. You turn away. Continue walking. The street darkens again as you leave the lantern behind. The sounds fade, replaced once more by the quieter, sharper noise of the night. You pass a corner where someone has set up a small fire. Not for cooking, for warmth. Two figures sit close to it, their faces barely visible in the flicker. They don't look up as you pass. Their world is contained within that small circle of light. Beyond it, nothing exists. You understand that feeling. You keep moving. Because stopping means becoming part of something. And here, that's a risk. The building where you sleep comes into view. It looks different at night. Smaller, darker. As if the shadows have claimed it completely. You slow as you approach. Not from hesitation. From habit. Your hand reaches the door. You pause. Just for a second. Listening. The sounds inside are muted. Softer than the street, but no less present. Voices. Movement. Life continuing in a space too small to contain it. You push the door open. Step inside. The darkness closes around you again, and for a moment, it feels almost familiar. The door closes behind you, and the noise of the street dulls into something distant, like a memory you haven't fully let go of yet. Inside, the air is warmer, not fresh, not clean, just contained. You stand still for a moment, letting your eyes adjust. The darkness here is thicker than outside, broken only by faint traces of light, slipping through cracks in wood and gaps between doors. Voices drift through the corridor, low, tired. No one laughs loudly here. Not anymore. You move forward, your hand brushing the wall lightly as you find your way. The wood feels damp beneath your fingers, worn smooth in places where too many hands have done the same thing before you. The floor creaks with every step. Not loud, but enough. Everything here reminds you that it's still standing, even if it shouldn't be. You reach the stairs. They look the same as they did this morning, but they feel different. Heavier, your legs protest as you begin to climb. Each step pulls at muscles already worn thin from the day. You take them slowly, not out of caution, but because your body refuses anything faster. Halfway up, you pass someone coming down. A man you recognize, or think you do. In this place, faces blur together after a while. He doesn't look at you. You don't look at him. There's no need. You continue upward. The air grows thicker the higher you go. Less movement. Less space for it to shift. It settles into the walls, into the floor, into you. By the time you reach your door, your hand lingers on the frame for a second longer than necessary. Not from hesitation, from something else. Fatigue. You push it open. The room greets you the same way it always does. With presence, bodies already inside. Some lying down, some sitting their shapes barely visible in the dim light. A candle burns low near the far wall, its flame small, unsteady, casting shadows that move even when nothing else does. No one speaks as you enter. They know where you've been, because they've been there too. You close the door quietly. Move to your place. It hasn't changed. The same thin layer of straw, the same worn fabric. You lower yourself down slowly, your body sinking into it, finding its shape again, as if it never left. For a moment, you just sit. Your hands rest on your knees, still, unmoving. You can feel them now. Every finger, every joint. The soreness doesn't come all at once. It builds, spreading through your arms, your shoulders, your back. A quiet reminder of everything you've done and everything you'll do again. Across the room, someone shifts. A cough follows. Then another, closer this time. It lingers in the air longer than it should. No one reacts. Not anymore. You lean back slowly, letting your body settle fully onto the straw. It rustles beneath you, familiar in a way that doesn't bring comfort, but doesn't surprise you either. The ceiling above you is barely visible, just a dark shape pressing down. You stare at it anyway, because there's nothing else to look at. Your breathing slows. Not because you choose it, because your body demands it. Around you, the room settles. One by one, movements fade. Voices disappear. The sounds become smaller, softer, but never gone. They're never gone. Somewhere below, a door closes. Somewhere outside, a voice rises, then falls. The city continues. It always does. You close your eyes. Not fully. Not yet. Your mind doesn't stop as quickly as your body does. It drifts. Backward, forward. Nowhere at all. You think of the street, the noise, the faces you passed, the ones you didn't look at, the ones that didn't look at you. You think of the workshop, the rhythm, the man who fell. Where is he now? Still here or gone? You don't know. You won't ask. Because the answer won't change anything. Your hand shifts slightly, brushing against something beneath the straw. Small, hard. You pause, then reach for it. A coin. You forgot it was there. Or maybe you didn't. You turn it between your fingers. Feel its edges. Its weight. It's not much, but it's something. Proof that you made it through another day. You close your hand around it. Hold it tighter than you need to. Then slowly, you let it go. Slide it back into its place, because you'll need it tomorrow. Everything here is for tomorrow. Not today. Never today. Your eyes close fully now. The darkness doesn't change. It just becomes complete. Your body sinks deeper into the straw, your muscles finally releasing what little tension they can. The exhaustion takes over, not gently, but completely. Sleep comes quickly. Not because it's peaceful, because there is no other choice. Around you, the room breathes. Slow, uneven, alive. And beyond the walls, London continues. Unstoppable, unchanging, waiting for you to wake again. Sleep does not come gently. It takes you. Quickly, completely, without comfort. One moment you are aware of your body, the ache in your back, the weight in your limbs, the dull pulse behind your eyes. The next, you are gone. But the city is not. It never is. Somewhere outside, wheels continue to grind against stone. A distant shout rises, then fades. A door slams. A voice curses. Another answers. The sounds weave together into something constant, something that never fully disappears. Even here, even now, your breathing settles into rhythm. Slow, uneven, shared. Around you, the others do the same. The room fills with it, a quiet chorus of survival, bodies resting only because they must, not because they are safe. Time passes. You don't feel it. You don't measure it. But it moves. It always moves. The candle burns lower. The flame weakens, flickers, stretches thin before pulling itself back together again. Shadows shift across the ceiling, long and distorted, then shrink as the light fades further. Eventually, it dies. Darkness takes the room completely. And still, the city continues. Outside, footsteps echo along the street. Not the hurried movement of the day, but something slower, more careful. Someone walking alone, or trying not to be seen. A brief sound follows. Sharp, then silence. No one inside the room reacts. No one wakes. Because this is not unusual. It is part of the night. Your body shifts slightly in your sleep, adjusting to discomfort. It no longer questions. The straw beneath you presses into your side, your shoulder, your legs. You don't wake. You don't need to. You've learned how to rest inside discomfort, how to exist inside it. Somewhere nearby, someone coughs again. The same cough. Deep. Persistent. It breaks the rhythm for a moment, then fades back into it. No one moves. No one speaks. Because there is nothing to say. Hours pass. The darkness holds. Then, slowly, something changes. Not in the room, in the air. It lightens. Just slightly. Barely enough to notice. But enough. The city begins to shift again. Before the light arrives, the sound does. A cart in the distance. A horse's breath. A voice. Not loud yet, but rising, mourning. It comes whether you're ready or not. Your body feels it before your mind does. A subtle tension returns to your muscles. Your breathing changes. The stillness begins to break. Your eyes open, slowly, reluctantly. The darkness is still there, but it's thinner now. The edges of the room begin to form again. The ceiling, the walls, the shapes of the others around you. Nothing has changed. Not really. The same room, the same air, the same weight pressing down from above. For a moment, just a moment, you don't move. Because in that space between sleep and waking, there is a question, a small one, quiet, but present. Is today different? Your eyes shift. You look at your hands. Still there. Still yours. Still capable. The answer comes quickly. No. Nothing is different. The sounds grow louder outside. The city pulling itself back into motion. The same rhythm. The same chaos waiting just beyond the door. You push yourself up. Slowly. The straw rustles beneath you. Someone beside you groans, turning away, trying to hold on to sleep for a few seconds longer. It won't last. It never does. You swing your legs over the edge. Your feet touch the floor. Cold. Damp. Familiar. You stand. Your body resists for a moment, then gives in, because it has no choice. You reach for your clothes. The same ones. Exactly where you left them. You pull them on without thinking. Each movement automatic. Practiced. Efficient. No wasted motion. No wasted time. From below, the first real shout of the morning cuts through the building. Sharp, alive. The guerre has begun. You move toward the door. Your hand rests on it for just a second. Not from hesitation, from understanding. Everything that waits outside is already in motion, with or without you. You push it open, step into the corridor, and the cycle begins again. Because in this city, there is no pause, no escape, only movement, only survival, only the next day, repeating the last. And somewhere deep beneath all of it, a quiet truth settles in. You are no longer just passing through London. You are part of it now, and London will not let you go.